in the chat, he can be great. He can be a great guy on a different team, any other team. But it might be, as a part of the Dodger bench, which is not the end of the world if he could find a role there.
Yeah, and I don't know if there is one. I don't know what they're thinking about. And I think this leads us to the next conversation about importance in terms of storylines going in. Yes, the outfield is one, but I think starting pitching is huge because I'm sure internally they know what they can, at least they have a better idea of what to anticipate and expect from Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, whatever they're doing, wherever they are in their return. But let's just say we get not Sasaki. Let's just say we get Snell and Glasnow back in the next 2 to 3 weeks, right? You still don't know what you're going to get from them in terms of a production standpoint. This is the same exact question as we have with every single person that comes off the IL. Are they going to be rusty? They're going to need time to build up. Are they going to have their stuff? What's their mechanics? What are their mechanics going to look like? And that cuts it close to the deadline, right? I mean, It is June 30th. We are a month away from the deadline. So are you thinking starting pitching, even if those guys are coming back? Are you kind of waiting to see obviously Andrew's thought about this way further than we have.
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's got to be a question, right? Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins, that's been a name that's been floating around in terms of guys that are, the Marlins obviously are going nowhere. They haven't been going anywhere since the dawn of time. Does Sandy come to LA? I don't know.
It feels like the Dodgers and Miami could be natural trade partners there. But it really comes down to what you were saying just a minute ago. It comes down to not necessarily what the team gets out of Glasnow and Snell this month, but if anything, but it's knowing that they're still trending in the right direction. We saw this last year with Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He was on the sidelines at this point in time. The Dodgers knew they needed a starting pitcher, but they only went out and got one. The assumption that, hey, this guy seems to be healthy. The shoulder seems to be trending in the right direction. And we know the Dodgers and with Glasnow and Snell in particular, it's in that kind of same conversation right now. We haven't heard of really any setbacks. Glasnow, for what it's worth, had a rough outing at AAA over the weekend, but he still came out of it healthy enough. He's going to make his next start and get that much closer to making his return to the active roster. Blake Snell is supposed to face hitters at Dodger Stadium sometime this week, which is a huge first step into getting him closer to a rehab assignment. So all of those type of moves tell me, again, barring setback, you have 4 weeks right now to kind of figure out whether or not you're pushing the chips in or you feel like you have enough in the tank here with those guys. Emmett Sheehan coming back, and some of the other dudes down in the minor leagues. Jackson Ferris has kind of rebounded his season a little bit. You have some options in-house where Andrew can honor himself and what he said in January. It was like, I don't want to buy.
And that's the thing. That I was waiting for you to get to that point, and that's exactly the thing. What is interesting is coming into the season, you and I had discussed that Andrew Friedman went balls to the wall all in the off season, so he didn't have to worry about this, right? And this is understanding that you were going to go through injury, right? Nobody expected the 26-man roster to go healthy and go wire to wire from March 31st or whatever the opening day game was to, the end of September into October. But they're like, if we get all of these key pieces, the Blake Snells, the Tanner Scotts, the Kirby Yates, the, Roki Sasaki's, all of these pieces, back, and we get these guys in, and you get Blake Trinan back, and you sign Teoscar, and Kike comes back in that complementary role that he does so well in, then you may not have to make another massive splash at the deadline. Maybe that's what they're hoping for, right? Maybe they're getting these guys back at the key time, and maybe there's just little complementary pieces. I know someone in our chat was saying, well, it's I will flip you the bird, saying, what about Luis Severino from the Athletics? So obviously the Athletics finally spent some money and got Luis Severino, but he's not pitched well, obviously, for the Athletics. Maybe it's because they're pitching in a bandbox where he's, it's like you might as well be pitching on the moon.
He has let it known.
He has a 5.18 ERA, but their home games are in Sacramento in a Little League park, essentially.
And his ERA at home is like 7.5. He's been very vocal about how much he hates that park.
Sure, maybe he would be different in a Dodger uniform. I don't know that the Oakland Athletics are going to be willing to trade him. Sandy Alcantara, he may not have the unbelievable numbers he had when he first burst onto the scene, but I think he's finally kind of getting back to where Sandy Alcantara needs to be. I don't know if you need to go and get those guys, especially if they come with high price tags. I mean, you might be able to get Alcantara for a lot less than you'd probably be able to get Severino for.
Yeah.
But
And there's more money with Severino left as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And you may not need them. So it's a tricky situation.
And you also gotta we all gotta accept the fact that one, there is a Dodger tax. So when it comes to the Dodgers trying to go out and acquire these players, and two, other teams are trying to acquire talent at the deadline. I figured I'd play around with this again, kind of resetting likely sellers and buyers and whatnot. This is an incomplete list. It may not be accurate. This is kind of just my gut feeling on it here. But we got the fence riders. Those are the ones that we really need to be looking at. The Cardinals have been pretty good. If I'm looking over at the bottom right part of our screen here, Cards could find themselves buyers. The Diamondbacks, after getting swept by the Marlins, maybe they should trend towards being sellers, and maybe somebody like Zach Gallen is somebody the Dodgers can fix. Boston has been doo-doo since trading away Rafi Devers, which was the problem.
Right. I love how Craig Breslow has said that they're going to win more games without Devers than they are with him. I'm like, can't wait to see that.
But this is kind of what we're looking at here. There's a lot of teams that are buying. The Yankees really want to be active. The Padres love being active. Giants are active right now. Tigers right there as well. Rangers have some interesting pieces.
I'm looking. Throw your list back up there. I'm looking at your list, and I'm looking at the standings and the discrepancy or the division leads in each respective division. Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays for sure will be buyers. Red Sox should probably sell because they're. Yeah, I don't know. They're 3 games out of the wild card final spot. They're 8 games out of the division. They already got rid of Devers. They're just planning on their youth moving forward. Detroit obviously is buying. I don't think anybody else in the AL Central is buying. Okay, I think the Tigers are the only buyers. Houston obviously is going to be a buyer. Seattle's going to be a buyer. The Angels are in a weird spot. They're probably sellers. I can't believe the Rangers, man. I'm really disappointed in what they've done.
That's a fraud ass World Series team right there. I'll tell you.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
I mean, they've had some health issues, I guess. But
Phillies and Met buyers.
I'm very curious about the Royals.
Cardinals.
Very curious about the Royals. They got a couple of arms there with Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, who will be interesting pieces come at the popular pieces for sure. Yeah. Andrew Heaney with the Pirates is having himself a good year. We know the Pirates are very interested in trading Mitch Keller as well for some reason. It's like you have some arms out there, but then we circle back to do the Dodgers really need him when you are likely getting back Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow, and hell, maybe Roki Sasaki comes back and is a factor for this team. It's not that I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not expecting Sasaki to be in the mix. It would be a nice surprise. But then again, you have Emmett Sheehan. They have some pieces. I don't anticipate a busy deadline. For the Dodgers, at least. Yeah,
I don't think they need it. I really don't. They don't need to make a splash. They've got all of the pieces that they need. You just have to see where these guys are health wise, and I think they'll be fine. So I think Andrew Friedman did what he needed to do it all at the front end.